Why do we love horror films? Well, we're going to find out today in AM Northwest when we talk with the creator of the Halloween movies.
Plus, we're going to show you how to make a spooktacular cocktail for your Halloween party.
And find out why animals could be the cause of the next big epidemic. That and a whole lot more is coming up right now on AM Northwest.
All right, why do we love to scare ourselves silly by going to horror movies? We're going to find out after the break when we talk with the man who created the Halloween film franchise. Stay with us.
There we go.
Welcome back to AM Northwest. The film Halloween forever changed the horror genre and the old movie studio system. So here to share how it all began, we welcome the creator of the franchise and author of the new autobiography, the man who created Halloween, film producer Irwin Yablans. Good to have you with us.
Nice to be here.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Welcome back to Portland.
You know, I'm back in Portland. I know I'm back in Portland because I got my raincoat, I got my umbrella, I got my booties.
And yet you still love it.
You know what? I'll never forget. I stayed here one time. The first time I was here, for 60 days I didn't see the sun. But I refused to pay attention because I love the city so much. But on the 61st day, I got up and I looked up and said, I give up. I give up.
You know, the subtitle of your book is How a Bit of Desperation and Inspiration Gave Birth to the Move That Changed Hollywood.
Thanks for noticing that, because that pretty much sums it all up. It was desperation. I had started a little film company called Compass International Pictures after having enjoyed a fairly successful career with major studios, Paramount and Warner Brothers. And I had a feeling that I could make independent small movies and bring to the public talent that had been neglected. You know, the old studio system was still in effect. The moguls controlled it, and they were paying no attention to this sort of thing. It was still a star system. Well, I was desperate for something, and someone told me about a young filmmaker named John Carpenter who had just come out of USC, had made a little student film called Siege. I looked at it and I saw great talent. I retitled it, called it Assault on Precinct 13.
Assault on Precinct 13.
Yes, and the picture was very good, but no one paid attention with this country. I went overseas to try to sell some foreign sales, and on the way back, I stopped in London. I was discouraged. I was tired. I had a cold. I got a phone call from the lobby. It was a man named Michael Myers. I loved your movie. I'd like to enter it into the London Film Festival, and I'd like to buy the UK rights. Well, he did. It was entered. It won first prize. Aha! I had to find a movie to make with this guy real quick. On a plane ride back from Italy, I was in the first-class cabin of a Boeing 747. I had 14 hours. I had all the drinks I could take care of. And I was racking my brain. What can I do with this young man? And I kept thinking, well, it was going to be a horror film because they're easy to sell and they have common denominator in their appeal. And I kept thinking, oh, Babysitters in Jeopardy, that's a good idea. We'll terrorize some nubile, young, beautiful women for about 90 minutes. And when we'll do it in one night, because I can control the budget that way. And all of a sudden, I had this epiphany. I don't know where it came from. It just popped into my mind like a light bulb went on over my head. Halloween. We'll do it on the scariest night of the year. No one. Then I thought, well, that's probably been used before. Somebody must have used that title. Nobody had ever used the word in a movie. So I got back. I called John up. We met. He was all excited. Because he would have taken a job making a movie about this cocktail table. He was so anxious to get started. I said, John, here's what I want to do. I'm the last of the radio generation. We didn't have TV till I was 15. And I used to listen to shows like Inner Sanctum, perhaps you've heard of that, and Lights Out, and they were radio shows. And I called it theater of the mind. And I used to put the covers over my head, and these creaky doors would go, and what I could conjure up in my mind was infinitely more frightening, perhaps, than anybody could make. So that's what I want. I don't want any gore. I don't want any blood. And that's what Halloween is, by the way. It's all suspense. I said, think of Hitchcock. We want to do something like Psycho. And he came back with this brilliant movie. And but we'll talk about the music, too, because that's very...
What I love is I didn't know. So the villain, Mike Myers, right, is just
a real person.
Is a real person.
Yeah, there's a picture of him in the book.
Who actually helped you.
Yeah. And he's immortalized now.
I love that. You know, the funny thing about these movies, and you talk in the book too about going and watching it in the back of the theater and the reaction from the crowd, and how people are yelling at the screen, and they become emotionally and intellectually involved with the film. It's probably different than any other kind of genre where people, people don't go to other dramas and yell at the screen, but they do in these movies. Why do you think so?
Well, the first time that happened, I really ran a screening for all of the the big major studios because I wanted them to come and make an offer for the film. They never showed up. Nobody even came. And I was kind of glad in a way because 2/3 through the movie, they started to scream at the movie and yell at the movie and yell at the characters. Oh my God, it's derisive, but it wasn't. The answer to your question is, it's a release of tension.
Yeah.
And it's also, I say, breaching the fourth wall. Mm-hmm. They get so pulled into the film. They are literally with those characters, and they are being terrorized as well. And this is a way of releasing tension and getting rid of all that.
And that's when you know you've got something.
Oh. And this repeated itself. I can't say it on your TV show, I don't think, but the first time that happened, if you read that line...
Pick up the jacket and take a look.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Jamie Lee Curtis, this was her breakout film.
Well, you know how she was chosen first? When John called me and told me he wanted to meet Jamie Lee Curtis, I did meet with her. She was a beautiful young girl and obviously talented, but as a producer, as an entrepreneur, what I was more interested in most was the fact that her mother was Janet Leigh. And I envisioned the idea of seeing a picture of her mother from Psycho and then taking Jamie Lee in our movie, and I broke AP, UPI all over the world and got all that publicity as a result. So there was a multitude of reasons. The piece of casting I'm most proud of is the stroke of using Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis, because he gave the picture kind of gravitas and a kind of respectability that most so-called horror films didn't have. And the only reason he did it was because he had his daughter in London had seen Assault on 13th Precinct at the film festival and said, Dad, you've got to work with this guy. I do want to, in the limited time we have, make sure I talk about the music because that was quite something.
Yeah, well, it's people can recreate that music in a car if they have to.
My wife has it on the ringtones. And you can get it too. And every time it rings, people...
We've talked about your love of Portland. You've also, I know you're close with Christopher Walken. Is that correct?
Yeah, Christopher Walken.
I mean, he's a classic. Yeah,
but I'm proud to say that we've given a lot of young people their first jobs. Viggo Mortensen did his first movie for me in prison, and Rennie Harlan, the director, did his first movie for me too. Mickey Rourke did his first picture for us in Fade to Black. We would specialize in that. We would offer these young people careers. And in the book, I've got lots of pictures of these people too. I've even given my wife her first job in my movies.
I can't let you go without bringing this up, and I don't know that anybody will care but you and me.
And me.
But you worked for Tom Laughlin of Billy Jack fame. At one point, you talk about in the book, kind of a low point in your career, things aren't going well. He offers you a job. What was it like? Because he's kind of an oddball.
Tom Laughlin is a very strange individual. He's very powerful. He's a martial arts expert.
Right.
And we had a big disagreement one time because our pictures were not doing well, and he kind of vilified me for it. I got so mad at him that I got up and I took my briefcase and I threw it across his wall and I hit his beautiful brake front. And he got up out of his chair and he said, "That brake front cost $50,000. And he clenched his fists, and he's a lot bigger than I am, a lot stronger than I was. But I was so angry, and so I put my nose to his, and I said, what am I thinking? This guy can murder me. He's a black belt. But he is a genius in his own crazy way. But Tom Laughlin was a guy that he wanted to have his own studio. Mm-hmm. He wanted to make films his own way. And he did make in his own way, he made an iconic film like Halloween in the Billy Jack thing. And that endures today, by the way.
Right.
No, I don't know how many films he made, but it seems that every one of them was exactly like the last one.
Yeah.
But I'm most proud of the fact that at my advanced age, I'm going to be 80 years old pretty soon.
No way.
Yes. And I'm an author now. And I've gotten wonderful reviews, and I know I'm being a little blatant about it, but I'm so happy that I have written this book because it answers a lot of questions that people ask about this series.
Oh, it's fascinating. And you are a good writer because it is fun to read.
Oh, thank you so much.
It really is. And I mean, the connections here. I mean, people talk about 6 degrees of separation with Kevin Bacon. You're the guy. You're the epicenter of Hollywood.
Well, I did, and as you know, I did write a bit about Portland, Oregon, because Portland really was my jumping-off place. And by the way, I have a website. May I mention it?
Sure.
IrwinYablans.com, and it's on Amazon, Amazon.com, that you can buy the book. I wanted to do a book signing at Powell's. I just didn't think about it until too late because I love that
Well,
bookstore.
we want people to know because as they were putting you on this book tour, you insisted that Portland be one of the stops, so they threw it in at your insistence, and we appreciate that.
I love all my friends in Portland, and every time I get a chance, I come here. It's a much different city than it was in 1962.
Yeah, well,
Irwin, thank you.
we hope the buses are a little bit quicker. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in
It's
today.
been my pleasure to meet you both.
Absolutely. Well, coming up next, we're going to show you how to make a spooktacular cocktail for your Halloween party. Stay right there.
Man, we got a lot of